were now husband and wife, and told them not to be shy. Standing there, their hands joined by force, the two strangers looked at one another, bound together in the shadows of a cabin in a world that had already taken so much from them both. Bound by force and confusion, Juan struggled to make sense of the chaos, though the heavy atmosphere began to reveal the gravity of his situation. Standing beside the beautiful woman, a wild, almost impossible thought crossed his mind. He suddenly recalled the sinister promise of the old Santa, regarding a wife of pure heart and an obedient daughter. As he looked at Rigi, with her sweet and fragile appearance, he instantly imagined her as a bride resembling a gentle rabbit. The little girl, with her large round eyes, looked exactly like an adorable little ground squirrel. Juan was in disbelief. Could that old madman actually have granted his wish? Yet, even as the realization dawned, a sense of deep grievance washed over him. To grant a wish by throwing him into a cruel alien world seemed like a sick joke. Why couldn't the old man have given him this gift gently, instead of forcing him through such immense pain and humiliation? He lowered his head, his hair shadowing a face that was darkening with a growing, silent rage. He ground his teeth and swore that if he ever saw that Santa again, he wouldn't hesitate to send him straight to hell. The sheer intensity of Juan's internal fury radiated off him like a ferocious bear, causing the mother and daughter, his rabbit, and squirrel, to cower in instinctive fear. Following the forced introduction, the village chief and several other men led him into the nearby forest. The chief appeared to be explaining something at the top of his lungs, but Juan's head was spinning. He couldn't understand a single syllable of the guttural language. After the chief finished his one-sided explanation, he turned to the other men as if they were making a pivotal decision. Suddenly, a blond man stepped forward and extended his hand. Thinking it was a gesture of greeting, Juan responded politely and took the man's hand. But he immediately felt an extraordinarily powerful squeeze that was clearly a test of his strength. The blond man began to exert massive pressure, his face contorting with the effort, while Juan naively wondered if this was simply a peculiar local greeting. However, as the provocation became undeniable, Juan's brow furrowed. With a slight effortless counter-squeeze, Juan hoisted the young villager clean off the ground. The man screamed in desperation as he dangled in the air, a scene so shocking it caused even the village chief to cry out in alarm. The blond man's hand turned a deep, angry red under the weight of Juan's incredible power. After that brief demonstration of raw strength, the young man was left on his knees, clutching his throbbing hand, while the chief began a fresh round of frantic explanations. Without further delay, he handed Juan a bow and a quiver of arrows, seemingly entrusting him with an important task. Juan took the weapon, wondering why it was being given to him, though he correctly assumed it wasn't for another duel. Seeing that Juan was still bewildered, the chief began to gesticulate with exaggerated movements. He even went so far as to imitate the hopping of a rabbit until a light bulb finally went off in Juan's head. They wanted him to hunt, but just as Juan felt he understood, the chief waved his hands in a panic.